Hi, welcome to Tea Time with Amie and Bev. Here we are, another week.
Good
So
day.
excited. Can you believe we've been doing this since April?
No, that's
Every
very
week since
surprising,
April.
actually.
Isn't that awesome?
Awesome. It is awesome.
I forget what episode number we're in. We're like 20 something.
Nice. And I'm learning so much every week.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Cool. That's awesome that we have the opportunity and the technology to do this and show up and have some sort of an influence, whether good or bad, on other people's lives.
That's right. Tomato, tomato.
There you go. Oh, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How
Awesome.
about yourself?
Good. Just getting ready
Awesome.
for the holidays. So Thanksgiving's in a few days, and got company coming in. Some things happening, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. So
Very exciting.
when I say Thanksgiving's in a couple days, typically for our audience, typically Bev and I record on Wednesdays, and for us it's Monday. Monday before Thanksgiving. We both have a little uh, crink in our schedule, our weekly schedule, and so this worked out for both of us. So it is a Monday that we're recording, and still this is going to come out on Thursday. So I'm going to keep that
Awesome.
schedule. So anyway, yeah. So I what'd you do over the weekend? Or
Relaxed,
what?
actually. We did a lot of hiking, a lot of walking up and down washes, looking for stones and stuff like that. For me, when it's nice outside, any way I can be outside, I'll be outside.
Nice.
So I've been actually playing. We've got a sitting area outside, and I'll jump from rock to rock and step wide
So have fun.
because it's fun. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. That's just gonna be these days. So I just go have a good time.
You just let that little girl play, right? Because she got robbed of so much. I
Yeah,
would do that. I'd go jump on rocks. I still
I do
climb up
it.
on boulders.
That's right. I see if I can make it to the next one. I jump and try to make it to the next one. It's fun
Yep.
stuff. Fun stuff.
Do you wear padding, like stuff your butt with Charmin or anything in case?
No, no,
Because that ground's
I
a
just
lot farther down now.
yeah, I just brave the wild. I just freaking do it.
Nice. And that to me brings up confidence. Like that's a confidence builder. I just do it,
It
right?
is.
I just jump and I know I'm gonna make it.
And if I don't, then it's like I know because I'll feel a hesitation, and it's like I'm doing it again because I know I can do this.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun
It's a,
stuff.
it's interesting how we can build our confidence in different ways without thinking it's got to be huge. So, doing a Facebook Live, right? Doing these recordings, knowing that there are going to be lots of people that are going to be watching it, um, having to build up to that. So for me, the process started like 20 years ago. Just doing maybe not that far back, but about 14, 15 years ago. I had to start by from a network marketing, being a part of a network marketing company and doing parties. That was frightening to me. Frightening. And that was just a small group of people in a house, right? I was so nervous. So it's because I lacked in self confidence and having the introverted background. And, you know, when you don't know the products and they tell you learn as you go, you'll learn as you go. It was true. So the more I practiced it, the better I got, the better I got. And then the confidence was there. I knew about the products. But before that, it was intense. I was like a complete trembling freak on the inside and stumbling on my words, right? So to build I've been building that confidence up for quite some time to be able to do something like this, to teach, to, coach. So how is your journey in that confidence field?
You've actually helped in a lot of ways for that. But it's for me, it's like first of all, we're all people, all of us, and we all do things, and we all at some point or another, I feel like maybe not every single person, but have lacked self-confidence and stepping forward. Because as you're saying about the parties, that in a controlled environment, at this stage of my life now, I'm thinking that's not a big deal. But back then, I'd have been pouring off sweat, stressing about everybody showing up. Is my house clean enough? Oh my God, I forgot something. Let's just cancel the whole thing. All
Right.
these freakouts and stuff. Yeah, so it's like a whole huge process. No, and just even playing on the rocks and stuff, like you said, bringing forth the confidence. It's an inside job. It's really you doing things and showing yourself. It's not something that someone else can do. You've helped me step out a lot, but not, and I'll say helped me, but you actually allowed the platform. You allowed the space for me to step out. You didn't push me. So because when you're pushed, we like to push against, or we'll find a reason not to do it, or we'll make ourselves sick, or because I've done all those things. Oh gosh, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. I think I'm going to have to be in the bathroom for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
Sorry. We
We
find
have to do
reasons.
we have to do tea time on Wednesday. Sunday, I'm throwing up. Right.
And how many people still do that? Still that's part of probably their ceremony before they go in. They just go in and throw up and do whatever they need to do to get to their balance to where they feel good. No, it's actually quite the process. It's simple though, and it's just little things. Just like showing yourself that you can do things. For somewhere along the line, we thought that we weren't good enough, or that we couldn't do it, or God, if we got judged so much, we might die right there on the spot. I don't know what I was thinking back then, because we're gonna survive.
Right.
It's
Right.
just kind of, but it's just that fear. That fear, it feels like you're just. I mean, it just is such a place that makes you feel so anxious and sick, and it feels like the end of the world. Like if you could escape any way you could, you would.
Yeah. Yep. And if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? If it was
But it
easy,
is.
if in
Yeah.
our mind, if it was
Oh yeah.
if it was easy, then everybody would be successful at network marketing. Like everybody would be making thousands and thousands of dollars every month. But we make it so hard in our mind, and it comes down to judgment, criticism, perfectionist, control, people pleasing, right? All these dynamics that's involved because of our programming that put up these barriers. I'm not going to be perfect, and people are going to judge me for that, and they're going to criticize me, and then I got to do things to make them like me and be that people pleaser, right? So you go into this freaking tornado of emotions and craziness just to say, hey, you want to look better? I got the skincare products to do it, and be confident
Yep.
just saying that. I didn't have that.
Yep. And then you get into that fight or flight, right? So now you're shutting off everything. You're not taking deep breaths. You're not in this. You're not in a state of place of peace or anything. I mean, we really can get ourselves really wound up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
And,
now it's what?
uncomfortable.
Oh man, lose sleep, didn't sleep. I got a party in 2 days, and I'm thinking about that. I can't sleep, so exhausted, mentally, emotionally exhausted, just scared to death. Yeah. And it's funny we say that, scared to death. Like you said,
Yeah.
I'm gonna die. I'm in 2 days. I'm gonna die when I do this party. And that was what 15 years ago. I'm still here.
And I've done a few things, but I'd say most of my stuff has been with us getting together, doing classes or groups, and it's like once you're doing it, you're just in a good. I mean, if you just sit in the flow of things, it's really it's an easy space. It's simple,
Yeah.
but we didn't grow up simple.
Right. Right.
My process was complicating things, so at least
Yeah.
that's how it felt.
because we knew what to expect, because we knew we would get in trouble or get grounded or get yelled at or get the spanking or get the whatever taken away. So we knew what was going to happen.
Which really does follow you. That follows you throughout a lot of your life, not even recognizing, because you've talked about before how much of our, our earlier beginnings, when you've done classes and stuff, how most of that's already been instilled within us, and that we carry that with us our whole life. It's like you need to dump the trash basically and put some new tools in there,
I like that.
because we've
Dump
been
the
pulling
trash.
the same tools. Yeah, pulling those same tools from, or same mannerisms. You brought up marketing. I was talking to Freeman recently, and we were talking. He said something about, oh, these books over here are really good. They talk about sales and stuff, and it's like, ah! As soon as he brought up sales, it's like, this party's over, man. For whatever reason, I have noticed that I have that's a trigger for me, a hang up
Sure.
or whatever. I don't know. I haven't really gotten to it, but it's like he was letting me know this. It was more information than sales. It was just how you present yourself and how to handle yourself in front of groups, kind of like preparing yourself, because that helps build your confidence and stuff, and handling questions that sometimes people ask straight on questions and want to kind of thwart you a little bit because they're not getting things or not understanding things, so they're coming forward the way they know how, and it's just talking about how you handle certain people, and it's like, you lost me at sales. Like, I didn't hear shit after that.
Sales was like, door
And it's just
shut.
like, even you, yeah, you and I have talked about stuff, and it's like, they just gotta show up. That's all. That's me. But yeah, for some reason that seems to have been a trigger,
Yep.
which
And
I
I
find
hear you on
interesting.
that, because I used to be in that space. I really did. I used to, as soon as you started saying, well, you need to sell this, I was like, right. Um, because what goes to my mind immediately, I think it's changing now because of the mindset shift that's happening with so many teachers and how they're talking about it. But in the past, it was, the salesperson just push, 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 push. And like, you just get exhausted. You're just like, fine, Jesus, I'm going to shut you up because I don't have the confidence in me to walk away and say no. Right. And so through the marketing, and just so you know, I've been a part of 5 different network marketing companies. Okay. But each one taught the same exact thing. Every one of them talked about the same exact thing. And when it comes to sales, right? Um, it when somebody likes something, so when you like something like a movie, a restaurant, a certain dish that you had at a restaurant, a certain clothing maker, whatever it is, right? When you talk about it, you're excited, right? You just like, oh my gosh, I went to this restaurant and I had this meal and it was so delicious, and all the flavoring was just amazing, right? I'm like, I'm a foodie. So your mouth starts, you telling me the story, my mouth is watering. I want to go right now and go have it. That's sales. That's just sharing. So if you take the sales part out and just put sharing, I'm sharing what I like. And so most people would think that of like word of mouth. Okay, that's what we are. All of us do it. All of us do it. And so we share with each other what we like. And there are people, there are companies, there's businesses, there's coaches, there's people out there that do zero advertising. Like, they do not pay for advertising. It is strictly word of mouth. So as a coach and teacher, as long as I'm showing up and giving that 120% and there for my clients and students and delivering the information that's resonating with them, that's helping them shift their life, they're going to go tell their friends and family.
It's true.
Right. So then that's how, my uh, social media groups get bigger, and my emails get address, collection gets bigger and all that, because they're sharing what the benefits that they got from whatever I provided. So that in itself is gold. So when we are like, when you take my classes, I'm sharing with you all the time. There's 3 books that I talk about nearly every single class I have. And if I had a kickback for every time I referenced and those people went and bought those books, oh my gosh, right? I would be like, woo woo, financially good. But the fact is, I love them, and so I share it. So I am doing the promotion for the author. I'm doing the promotion for the restaurant. I'm doing the promotion for the movie theater. And the other thing is, is when you love something, when you believe in something so much that if you have something, a service, so you're a massage therapist and you believe in it so much, you know the benefits, you know how it's going to make a change in somebody's body and in their life, and you're just so passionate about it. You as the massage therapist or me as a coach, we are passionately sharing still what we love. And we know that these are a benefit to you. And if I don't tell you what I do, not only am I doing a disservice to myself and growing my clientele or my students, I'm doing a disservice to the public by not sharing that with them what I do and knowing that I have what could help them. So it's like in either case, you take the word sales out of it. I am sharing passionately with you what I do, and I love it. And I just want you to know this is what I do. Whether it's for you, great. If it's not, that's okay. But at least they have the seed planted in their head. And when somebody crosses their path and they're like, oh my gosh, I really need help with this emotions that I have right now, and I'm trying to process them from past, and I'm just really having a hard time. And they go, oh my gosh, I just talked to this lady, her name's Amie, and right. And so you just keep talking and sharing about what you do so that it's out there. And I'm not selling you. I'm not selling you. I'm just like, this is what I do. Whether you like it or not, that's up to you. But I know I love it, and I know it's beneficial for you.
Yes.
So these are things that I've had to learn, because immediately when you said sales, I was like, oh. But also what it comes down to, if you are trying to sell something, because here's the deal. When somebody else has something for sale, I am your best sales girl. Okay? So when somebody says, who's a good massage therapist, I'm like, oh my God, Beverly, right? I'm doing this because that was the texting or a social media post. That's what that was. But if it was money coming directly to me for sales, and the reason why is because I didn't feel worthy enough to receive that money. I didn't feel worthy enough to receive financial abundance. I had a resistance towards money. I had a resistance towards my self-worth. And so I would push that away. But I'll sell your stuff all day long, and I'm okay with that. But when it was coming directly to me, nope. That's when I get all freaked out. So that's the difference. And that's when when you start, it's just a mindset of shifting how you're viewing sales. And again, we're doing it all day, every day, because believe it or not, each and every person in this world is selling themselves every day by making friendships.
Yep, in one way or another, we are. Yes.
But we don't look at that. What we see is sales and dollar signs.
Yeah.
Being pushed to what I don't want to do. Go ahead.
I was going to say, sharing feels good. When you say the word sharing, it feels good. When I think about it's communication, and that feels good too, because it seems to be a very lacking thing these days with a lot of people. So it's like, it's that right there. It just makes it easier.
Yep.
It's simple.
It is.
So that there's the attachment to a word.
Yep. And I'm trying to think who the author is and the teacher, but anyway, it's a book on how to influence people. anyway, but because I had such a block about marketing and sales, because those were triggers, I needed to learn more about it. So I did read books about how to like talk to people and how to, and there are, you know, there's in marketing, you got to know how to influence people. You have to know how to get somebody's attention by your words and bring the emotion into it. So there's dynamics to marketing. And when you're doing something like a, a social media ad or an email, you got to connect to the reader. And so there's things in that that's important to know as how to, and influence kind of sounds like, oh, you're being manipulative. No, it's just people need to be uh, there's different types of people who of how you communicate with them. And so words that might resonate with me may not resonate with you. So somebody who's in marketing needs to know how to, in one ad, know how to affect both of us. So that's an art. That really is an art. And I'm still learning that because I'm more of a I feel like there's an emotional buyer and an what's the other one? Like a analytical buyer. An emotional buyer is somebody, when you trigger their emotions, like if you can get them like when you read an ad or something, or somebody's story in an ad and it gets you all teary-eyed, you're like, oh my God, yeah, that's totally me. I need to buy this right now, because you emotionally got triggered. An analytical buyer needs more information. That's why those ads are so like a sales page is so freaking long, because an analytical buyer is going to go all the way to the bottom of that and read everything and then hit the buy button. Whereas an emotional buyer is going to read your story and then hit the buy button, right? So you have to know how to do both. And that, I'm telling you, that is an art.
Fun.
So from now on, when you read those, you know, because sometimes, you know, I'll read those and they, you know, I'm interested, and then I'm just like, this is too many words. I can't go all the way to the bottom. It's too many words. And then other times I'm like, no, I need more information, and I keep going, right? So yeah, just notice that next time you see an ad that gets your attention, read the whole thing. Like read the part, notice where you get triggered. Like what is drawing you in? Is it the story, the emotion that they get you to get attached to, or is it needing more information and reading everybody's stuff, right? Because they put the
Because for me,
testimonials in there.
yeah, it's a push or a pull, right? For me, it's a push or a pull. And if I read the whole thing, a lot of times it'll push me away. If they start using any tactics of fear, I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
walking away. I don't want nothing else to do with the conversation. I wouldn't refer anybody or anything. So anytime I pick up fear tactics or someone trying to be pushy or push you into something, I'm done. But if they get something that, you know, like an emotional thing, if they get you and they pull you in, it's like, oh, this could be beneficial for me.
Yeah, and that's something that, again, that I'm learning. Like I don't like the fear-based type of marketing either. Like the you need to do this now, buy now, or else, right?
Yeah.
There is, marketing has been fear-based for quite some time. So when I personally started, and it's just mainly been this year, started getting into online marketing for myself, um, I struggled. I couldn't sit down and do that type of marketing because it didn't resonate with me. Something just didn't feel good about it. And I thought, but everybody's saying this is the way you have to do it in order to get people to buy it. And I was like, this doesn't feel good. It just really did not feel good. And so I just resisted it until I just recently got into a coaching program for business. and they have a positive. So they took the negative verbiage of marketing and switched it into a positive type marketing. And I was like, you know, when you ask, it comes. Because I was like, there's got to be a different way. I just don't know what it is. And I asked. So I put my hands up like this because I'm asking the universe. There's got to be a different way, because this what they're saying works doesn't resonate with me, and I don't like it. If I don't like it, then my ideal client is not going to like it, and they're gonna go the other direction, right? They're gonna be like, no, it's not for me. So I was like, okay, there's gotta be something else. And then I got into this business coaching program, and they're talking about positive marketing. Yay! I'm so excited. So there is support for me, thank God. There's still hope.
There is. The awesome thing I heard from you is like you were resisting it. Well, you were resisting it because it didn't feel good. You know what I mean? That goes back to what we talk about all the time. It's trusting how you feel. It's like listening to how you feel. Don't make yourself do something you don't want to do because it doesn't feel good.
Yeah,
And
right,
it's like
right.
most of the beginning of or I'll probably say the first 50, 49 and a half years. I'm not sure exactly. I was doing things all the time, whether I wanted to or not. And it's like I've even told people around me, like, you don't have to do that. I mean, think about it. If you don't feel good about doing it, then you don't have to do it. It's up to you. It's your choice. But if you're going to make a decision to do that, then you try to find a better way to look at the situation where it feels good for you, so that when you're making that decision, because it's always our choice.
Mhm.
But am I making the choice that I'm feeling bad, or am I making the choice that I'm feeling good? So I try to find a way, if it's something that I kind of feel like it's something I'm going to have to go do, or however, sometimes we have obligations, or maybe we said yes to something that we really didn't want to say yes to, but we did. But if we can find a way within ourselves to feel good about it, then it changes the whole dynamics of the whole thing. Then we actually do whatever it is, and it turns out to be fun, or we enjoy it, or it opens up an interaction that we needed all along, or not needed. I hate using needed all the time, but something that would have shown a light to us to go in a different direction, or like you, finding a different marketing technique that felt good.
Yeah. And it's interesting that people I over the weekend I had a 2-day virtual workshop that I taught and guided people through their emotional healing, and I know I needed it. And so when I do workshops or classes that pertain to making changes, I I help the student or the client understand that everything we do every single day is a choice. It's a choice to get out of bed. It's a choice to open your eyes. It's a choice to turn the alarm off. It's a choice to take the covers off before you try to get out of bed, right? You leave them on and try to get out. You might fall on the floor, but it's still a choice. It's a choice to stand there by the bed and pee, or it's a choice to go into the bathroom and use the toilet. Everything we do every single day is a choice, but people don't realize that they have a choice. They're just living life. They're making choices, but they're not realizing that they have the freedom of that choice.
Yeah. And you can make that choice from an existing standpoint, or you can make it from a thriving standpoint. There's just different ways that we can perceive things that change
Yep.
our whole environment. It changes everything. Because when you're in a great space, because I've been in a great space, you see everything differently. Like I said, we were looking at rocks. I was looking at every rock, even if it was a rock that I wouldn't have picked up. It's like, this is like a miracle that it's even here, that it's been able to form itself. So every single thing that I was looking at was that way.
And that rock was probably
It was,
this big at some point, right?
yes.
And because it's been rolled and
Well,
tossed and everything, now it's this little tiny pebble.
yeah. And it's awesome. And how it got from wherever it was to where it was at. So
Yeah,
it's just enjoying life.
yes. Um, Making changes in your life is a choice. Changing
It
your
is.
belief systems is a choice. That's the one place where I got stuck, was that well, this is what I've been taught, and so this is what I believe. And then somebody told me, a teacher told me one time, your beliefs can change, and that's your choice to change them. That was like a revelation. It's like, excuse me? This is the way I was taught to believe, so this is what we're supposed to do. She's like, no, um, your whatever beliefs work for you is what you need to believe. And if what you have been believing isn't working for you anymore, you got to change your beliefs because you want your point of attraction to change. So in order for that to change, you got to change your belief systems. And my head about exploded, right? It was like, oh, this is a revelation because, and she goes, give yourself permission to change. Give yourself permission to change those belief systems. And I'm like, I'm a grown ass adult and I have to hear from somebody else that I need permission or I have permission to make a change in my belief system. But I needed that because I didn't know anything different.
When you say we had permission, that's how I feel. Like I feel like when we read a lot of these self-help books and a lot of this other information, it is giving us permission. Not that we need the permission, but that's because I just said that just recently over the weekend, which is so hilarious to me because it's like that's not how that's just not how I would normally have perceived things, but it is. It's like someone else did it, so now you've got permission to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been reading that Dying to Be Me book because I've been going through so many different books right now at the same time. But it's like she's talking about, at some point in your life, if you can get to the point, we don't have to have a near-death experience, but if you can get to the point where you can drop your beliefs and your disbeliefs, like dropping all of it, and then just being, just experiencing things because we've gotten such crappy information in our life because it's been so diluted and it's been perceived by other people. So it's been so, it's just been so changed, and those are someone else's beliefs. It's like for us, it's very important to kind of recognize how things feel. How does it feel to you?
Mm-hmm.
Because
And
that's
then,
really the best way that we're going to know.
right. And when it comes to beliefs, it usually, most time, it has to do with culture and religion. And if you go against that, then your family's going to disown you, no matter if it doesn't feel good or not, right? If it doesn't feel good and you want to do something different, there's fear. If I do this, then I'm going to be shunned by my family or by the church. And so people will continue to do what doesn't feel good for the sake of feeling loved and accepted.
It's true.
I'm
But
at
if
a
you're
point
going
in
back
my
to the
life.
kids, though, yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm at a point in my life. I'm like, yeah, no. If it don't feel good, peace out, brother. Mwah, gotta go. So,
And when we're kids, we just do things, when we're out playing and having a good time, we're just doing things. It's not doing anything to be mean to anybody or to hurt anybody. It's just out because it has fun playing. You move from one thing to the next. It's not a big deal. And we've forgotten that. A lot of us have forgotten that.
yes. Yeah, it's true. We do as kids, we just go one thing because we're in that moment. We're in the moment. We're like, oh, let's go roller skating. Okay, well, we'll do that for it. And we play and play and play. And it's like, oh, well, let's go ride bikes. Okay, and then we play and play. All right, well, let's go throw the ball. It's just one thing after another in the moment, having fun, whatever is we want to do. But then as adults, no, you need to get this done, and then, and you need to do this, and then, right? And then of course your self-care is at the bottom of that list if there's time.
It's true.
But a child's in the
It's
present
exciting.
moment and what they're doing. As adults, there's so many things that we have to take care of that we're a lot of times living in the future, thinking about all of our to-do things, like I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, and your mind is just reeling with all this stuff. And when I was in my last corporate job, I realized I did not have to memorize and remember every single thing. Okay, so I would print something, and it was going in a binder, so I had it to reference. And the reason why we have something to reference is to go back to it to answer questions. So I got to a point where when people were coming to me and they're like, well, what were the numbers on this day, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, and I would just look at them and I go, I don't know, it's in that binder though, you can go check it out. Or give me a few minutes, I'll look it up. And they kind of got irritated with me because I couldn't just off the top of my head give them their answer. I'm like, I don't know, give me a second, I'll look that information up. Or you know what, I'll come see you in about 5 or 10 minutes with that information or whatever. My head space is valuable to me. So it's like the things that are important to me to memorize and remember and have that readily available, that information, it's stored. But things that I feel are not, I mean, my grocery list, I'm not going to memorize a grocery list. I used to think I was memorizing a grocery list and then get pissed because I forgot something. No, grocery list goes on a piece of paper or in my notepad on my phone. I don't, it, there are things that are irrelevant to me to memorize. So it doesn't get to take up space in my head. And those to-do lists, those future things to do, I'm writing them down. I use my phone all the time. I have lots and lots of notes in my phone. Like, I don't need to memorize all that and be in the future all the time. And then I get so present moment. I had a lady ask me the other day, she's like, oh, how'd that event go that you went to out of town? I went out about an hour out of town to facilitate a yoga workshop. And this was about a month ago. So this just like a few nights ago, she came up to me and she goes, oh, how'd that event go that you did out of town? I was like a deer in the headlights. I'm like, when did I go out of town? What did I do? I could not remember leaving town. So she's like, had something to do with yoga or something. I was like, oh yeah. Because I seriously have been practicing being in the moment. My husband gets home in the evening. He's like, what'd you do all day? I was like, let me go get my to-do list and I'll tell you. And I have to go get my notepad. And actually it's a notebook. And I'm like, oh, well, I did this and this and this and this, because it's not things I need to remember.
I totally understand that. It's not important, right? It's not important. Right now is important.
Right now. This moment. And that too, I mean, that also comes back to, it's a choice. It's a choice to live in the moment, or it's a choice to live in the past, or it's a choice to be worried and have anxiety about the future. What are you giving yourself permission to do for yourself?
Yeah, and what are you giving your energy to? Just like you were saying earlier, when we're talking about something and we're passionate about something or someone else and we're talking about it, we're advertising and we're doing sales, but we also do the same exact thing on topics that we don't like, on people that we don't like, on things that we don't like. So it's like that's like bringing, I was just reading another book. It was from the 1800s, to be honest with you. And it's crazy to me how the information we have is not new information. The information's been there all along. And it's like they were talking about the media back then. They were talking about, how much we're giving energy to something else. And he talked about meditating and bringing your energy back. And for me, it's as simple as I'm bringing my energy back, because I know that's how easy it works. For me, it's just a matter of a statement in my mind, because it's like, oh, that's true. I didn't we don't realize on a daily basis. What he was saying is that on a daily basis, we have so many thousands of thoughts. And sometimes it's about us, or we're giving ourselves a hard time, but a lot of times we're putting that energy to something else, or to someone else, or to something that we don't like, or our work, or whatever it is. And it's like, think about, and then you get home at night and you're exhausted, and when you go in and go to bed at night, you can't sleep, but you're exhausted. And he's saying that it's because we didn't spend time in the now. We didn't spend time right now with things, that we have our energy in so many places. So he talks about bringing your energy back to yourself, like bringing yourself back to center, or bringing your, for me, it's like I can say I'm back to center, or I'm grounded, or I am that I am, or whatever it is that brings me right back to center. It's crazy, but we put our energy out all over the place. Like we're throwing it all over everywhere. The person that drove past you, you gave him energy because he wasn't going, or the person you passed because they weren't going fast. It's like, what the hell is going on, man? Don't you
Right.
got places to go? And it's like, but we put our energy out to all these people, all these places, all for everything. It's just crazy. But when we're in the now, which I was noticing today because I went shopping and stuff, and I noticed a girl, I wasn't paying attention to the person, and and I'm standing in line to check out, and she's like going like this, like trying to look around me, but not using the words "excuse me" or "Hey, can I get behind you?" or not even saying anything at all. So it's like no communication, and would have been so simple. I just wasn't paying attention to her. So it's like it's her journey, and I was in my place. I mean, I was in my space and just noticing things, and then noticing how I was telling someone they were being a smart ass. And then like we get to the store and I noticed that a daughter and a mom, they have a conversation, and she's like, okay, smarty pants, talking to her daughter. And it's like, did you see me put some water in the basket? And it's like, she ends up, so she made that comment, but in the process, she ends up buying a case of water that she never intended to buy, because it's where her energy went to. Her energy went to water. So she's like, yeah, don't even worry about taking it off there. And they gave her a new case because this one was all broken up. And it was quite an experience. When you're paying attention, you notice all these little things because it's all around us. I mean, it's very clear.
Yep, really is. And then that was one of the things that was part of my class this week. I swear you were in the class, because there were a lot of things that you're saying today we talked about. So, but yeah, I broke it down for him as far as, you know, giving our energy away. And first of all, we're taught to take care of everybody else first, right? So that is making sure everybody's pacified and nurtured and taken care of, so that we can feel good. And that's our giver side of us. And being in that, not necessarily just being the giver, but giving your energy. So like you said, so let's say you get up in the morning and you get a text, and you're one of those people who check your phone right away, and that text sets you off because it's something negative or drama related. So there's 5% of your energy already, and you just got out of bed. And then maybe your spouse or significant other triggers you about something. There's another 5%. And then maybe you're in the vehicle and you're driving to work and somebody cuts you off. There's 5%. And then you get to work and your coworkers are being assholes, and you're there all day. So let's say that's 15% of your energy because you've been there all day. So already we're up to like 30% of your energy, and you haven't even got home yet, right? You're just starting your day. So you could see how that would add up with every situation that you get your attention, especially in a negative way. You're giving your energy to that. And then you get home at night and you're so depleted of your own energy, you feel that exhaustion or tired, and then you're like, what? Yeah, and then you just feel like now you got to tend to your kids and your husband and dinner and the evening routine, and you're just like, I got nothing else. I've got nothing else to give, which means you have nothing else to give for yourself either. So you don't take that time to nurture yourself and replenish that energy, and then that's why our nurturing is on the very, very bottom of the list. If there's time, if I have energy to tend to myself. But yes, on a daily basis, you're pouring that energy out to all kinds of people and situations. And it's learning to fill your cup up and maintain that energy for yourself. And sometimes that does require you to say no.
It's true.
You're a big boy, you can handle it, or you're a big girl, you can handle this. and this is what I've learned to do in my life with people is when they ask me if I will do something for them, a lot of times I'll tell them no. I said, well, I'll tell you how to do it. I'll empower you with how to do it, and you can do it. And if you need help along the way, let me know, or guidance. If you need some guidance along the way, I'll help you. But I'll let you know how to do it, and then you take it from there.
Yeah. And as you were talking, it's like it makes you realize how easily you can get into a momentum. You know, you may have woke up in a great mood that morning, and then one little thing, like you gave 5%, then you gave another 5%. But that's the whole thing. We don't even recognize, because sometimes I'll be like, God, I don't even know where did it go wrong? It was going so good, but it's because it's a little bit here and it's a little bit there, and it's really caring enough about yourself to really focus on yourself, to notice when you're, you know, starting to get pulled astray, or starting not to feel as good as you did when you first woke up, because it's easy. It's easy to get pulled into that momentum, but it's also easy to change it. You know, I watched The Secret again last night, and I haven't seen that I mean, my kids were I don't know, they must have been like 13 or 14 years old, so it's been a long time. And I watched it, and it was pretty crazy to me, because I know that even when I watched it back then, like, I believe in all the stuff they're talking about now. I know that we're all energy. I mean, these things that I don't even know that I would have really truly comprehended back at that time, honestly, because I don't think I wasn't, first of all, wasn't around people that were talking about energy. Wasn't talking about I am. There was so much stuff that's in that it's so relevant. It just blows my mind. But I know all this stuff now. And it's like we've talked about before. Anytime you can pick up something a little bit different or a different perspective, it's worth it. It was worth your time, because there's always we used to call it the nugget. There used to always be a nugget in everything that we do, every conversation that we have, every interaction, if we're driving, it may have been a bird you saw or some numbers you saw or whatever. There's always something that's good. Like we've talked about it, we can either see it as everything as a miracle, or everything is not.
Mm-hmm.
That's boring.
Yep. I was,
But it's just interesting.
yeah, and when I watched The Secret, I was already learning about it, like, because I was reading Louise Hay books and Wayne Dyer and knew of, like Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza's. Like, I was already getting introduced to all that. So when that show came out, I was excited. I was like, "Whoa, this is so cool!" Because this is going to be huge, and it was. It was huge. And I really think, even though so many people were starting to teach it, like, that was a catapult for talking about energy and how much it affects us
Yeah.
and how much we are
How much we
connected.
influence. Oh yes. They talked about that too, that we're all one. And it's like, I don't know that my mind would have captured that at that time. I don't know that I would have clearly understood that. I understand it more now than I ever have in my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, clearly understand it.
Yep. And now, in that time, so I'm going to go back to the marketing thing, is like, in that time, if you think about what sales and marketing was like, right?
Oh yeah.
And now, because we know that our words have power and energy, and that, what we put out is through our words, and our intention of those words is what's going to determine what we draw to us. So that law of attraction. And since this is so relevant now in our way of living, multimillionaires who have been doing business and marketing and sales for so long are changing their language. And they are, and it's interesting to hear them talk now in the space of energy. Like, they actually bring in the words of energy and intention, and not many of them will say, like, the law of attraction is or says. They don't use those words, but they do bring in energy, the words of intent, energy, and intention. And so that's interesting when I hear that from them now.
And then your energy behind it, right? So like, if you're in a good mood, you know how much more it can be of an influence. And of course, using influence, is it in a good way, because it's like if I'm in a space and I'm around other people that are sad or angry or unhappy or whatever is going on in their mind, or they're not present, by me being in my happy space, my present space, my joyful whatever feeling that's a high energy, it's going to influence those around you,
Mm-hmm.
because it automatically starts bringing them forward a little bit at a time, right? Because they've already gotten a momentum in the opposite direction, so they're just changing that momentum, which even blows my mind still about the movie, because it's like Esther Hicks was in it, like all over in it, and it's like, man, I had remember doing research on these people because I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could, because it's like this was such a huge concept, because at that time I thought you had to think about everything that was possibly could go wrong. Think about that first, like the worst things. Someone's going to take your kids, so that way I stopped it from happening, or this was going to happen, or I was always thinking worst case scenarios then. And then I
Mm-hmm.
saw that and I was like, holy shit, like that blew my mind. It really did. And then I saw Esther in it, which you had introduced me to. Gosh, I want to say probably like 5 years ago now, maybe, maybe longer, maybe, I don't know. Because the first time you introduced me, I was like, eh. But I never even correlated her with that movie, but she wasn't a person I remember ever looking up, even from that movie, because I was looking up everybody. And then I would have saw the whole channeling thing. It's just crazy how when we're ready, it shows up, right? It was there all along. That information was there all along.
Been there for years and years.
Yeah. I just wasn't ready for it. And that's all right, because I'm in a place now, it's like, wow. I mean, maybe I would not have appreciated it as much then. I just couldn't have heard it, because I remember when I first listened to Abraham, I couldn't, it was like,
Oh, I didn't either.
this
It
isn't
was
making sense to
it was
me.
introduced to me they were introduced to me by a friend, and she had a monthly subscription to getting their CDs every month. And she's like, "Oh my
Nice.
gosh, I got so many here." Just she gave me like a box of them and said, "Here, just listen to them when you're done. Just bring them back. We'll change them out." I said, "Okay." And I listened to, I don't know, maybe a couple. And I took the whole box to her, but I said, "I am not resonating with this. I don't get it." I was just not ready. And so then it was quite a while, 3, 4, 5 years later, I said, um, can I listen to those CDs again? Now, whether she gave me the same ones or not, I doubt she did, but she gave me some CDs, and I said, okay. So I listened to them, and then it was like I couldn't get enough. I finished one went, another one went right back in. And it was in my vehicle. So every time I was in my vehicle, that's what was playing. I didn't listen to the radio for quite some time, because I was listening to these CDs. And then I got to a point, it's like I've said this before, I got to a point with all the books that I was reading, I just got to a point, I was like, they're all saying the same thing. And it just keeps on this like repeat. It's just a different story, but it's the same answer. It's a different story, but it's the same answer. And it's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So I don't listen to those anymore, because I feel like I get it now. What the piece is, though, is implementing it. So actually practicing it. So,
Yes.
and there are those moments. I know we've had conversations, and I've had conversations with others, or just have listened to another teacher. And when I get in those funks, those where I dip down into that negativity or the drama or the anger or whatever it might be, I'm reminded, Amie, you got the tools to get out of this. You got the tools to change your point of attraction. You know what to do. You got to implement it, right? That's a big word. You got to
Yeah.
implement it. And I think it's just part of the human side that says, no, I'm gonna be pissed. They
Yeah.
did this to me, right? And then it's like, well, if you stay in that space, then you're gonna attract more and more and more. And I'm like, I don't need to stay pissed. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. I can get out of this.
Because it's a choice.
Oh
It's a
man,
choice to stay in
the
that, or it's
choice.
a choice to find a way out of it. Yeah. And just like we run into triggers, we can set ourselves up with triggers to like, oh, as soon as I start to dip down like that, I'm going to take a deep breath in, and I'm going to just automatically start feeling better. My momentum's going to change in the opposite direction. However you want to say your words, however you want to set yourself up, but it's like we can do different things because you've taught me that. Like every time I'm going to remember how amazing that I am, not in an egoic way or a chauvinistic way, but I'm going to remember how amazing I am every time I take a breath. When I'm going to bring my energy back into myself every time I blink my eyes. So it's like just setting yourself up, to kind of catching yourself, because we're putting new information in. So it's taking, like we were talking about before, it's like dumping the garbage and then bringing new information in. It's not being stuck on the beliefs that you have or the disbeliefs. It's actually allowing for yourself to receive information and then process from there, because things have changed so much. I mean, I kind of grew out of my diapers, and I'm not in onesies anymore, and there's all those little things. I took my training wheels off, and life has changed so much, and we don't have to carry on the same beliefs or the same fears or the whatever it is. It's just learning how to move past all that stuff. Recognize, man.
Recognize. I love what you said about bringing up, every time I blink my eyes, this happens. And what came to my head, I went back to the beginning of our conversation, that you could use that same technique for your self-confidence. Every time I walk through a doorway, my self-confidence gets better. Every time I open my eyes, my self-confidence is stronger. Every time I take a step, my self-confidence is building, right? So you could use affirmations like that, and it just kind of, it's programming your subconscious mind to get better in that, with that specific topic. One of the things one of the affirmations I have is, every time I open my eyes, my vision is clearer, which would include not only my actual physical eyesight, but my vision of my life. And so people think, okay, well, every time you open your eyes, so that means what, when you get up in the morning? No, do you know how many times you blink in a day? Seriously? So it's programming my subconscious mind to reference my eyes, that every time I open my eyes, my vision is clearer. And that's, I mean, these are the things that you can do in a playful way to make those shifts in your beliefs and changing your behaviors and your habits. It's just learning the technique.
Yeah.
And it's not like I gotta be, it's not hard. It's not something that's hard. It's like every time I walk through a doorway, my self-confidence is stronger. How many doorways do you walk through in a day?
Yeah.
Every time you go in and out of a bathroom, that's one. You go in and out of your closet, or that's two, and that's four, right? When you really stop and think about that technique, like, you are going to be triggered with that that new thought pattern many times a day.
It's true. So for me, it's learning how to fall in love with yourself. That was something I've been reading recently, like really fall in love with yourself, because we're all connected. We're all one. And the more in love with myself, my inner being, my soul, however you want to look at it, the more in love I am with me, puts me more in love with everybody, with everything. And then you start becoming so unconditional, because I feel like the most conditional person that we are conditional with love with is ourselves, and most of the time. So for me, it's like, oh, with every breath I take, I'm just gonna fall more in love with myself, and it's like triggering all these possibilities that can happen around you, because it's like when you're looking at something negative and you have an expectation of seeing something negative, you're going to continually see something that proves itself to you in a negative way. So it's like, for me, I have been doing this. It's practicing, just being more in love with self, because most of us have not been, we don't even like ourselves a lot of the times. I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk that way, and I know how I felt growing up, man. I felt like the same kid off of the freaking Wrinkle in Time. If I could have come back as somebody else, The thing is, I would have still had my same shit with me. So I wouldn't have been somebody else. I still would have brought that same lack of confidence, no matter what I thought that I looked like or didn't look like. Even if I was if I thought I was in the perfect body and the perfect person, I would have still at that time found lack and fault within myself, because there was things that I needed to resolve. So it had nothing to do with being somebody else. But it's like we don't recognize, and then how hateful and ugly that is to yourself. It really is. That's the most uncomfortable thing. And that's why when we think those ways, that's why it feels so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's not true.
It's not, man. It's not.
It's
Yeah. So I find it interesting, the information and knowledge that the generations before us had, and what is coming forth now. And what's coming forth now, it's definitely influencing our generation in a big way. And it's, I think about how it's affecting our kids and the generations to come, like what we were brought up with, and the generations before us, is going to be, it is completely different than what is being brought forth now, which is we're moving more away from the beliefs of the negativity side and the drama, and moving more into the humanity side and the love of people really realizing, like, we all have our shit, man. We all have our shit, and you do not know what each person is processing, or how their life is, or what they're internalizing, or what kind of chaos is going on inside of them. And it's really having the respect for others, in the sense of, you got your struggles, and I want to be supportive of you, not put you down, not demoralize you, or make you look worse than you already feel about yourself. It's and I think it's going to be, it's amazing to see that, to be alive, to see that type of transition happening. And I feel, from my perspective, that we've come far enough that we are being contributors to that change. And so for that, I'm grateful that you did choose to let the seeds grow that I planted in your head, and in your heart. And so, giving my Thanksgiving in this moment, I'm thankful for you, for us being able to do this and make our contribution.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you for planting the seeds.
Oh,
honestly, it makes such a huge thing. And people don't realize it. It's like planting those seeds. It's like, don't expect something. When you plant a seed, it takes time for it to germinate and to grow, and produce flowers or plant or vegetables or whatever you're looking for. It takes time. So don't get upset with someone, because I've been there. It's like, well, I freaking told you. Why didn't you start doing it? Because I wasn't ready. That's why I didn't start doing it, because I wasn't ready. But thank you for planting the seeds.
Yep. And trust me, I've had a lot of seeds planted in me that took some nurturing before I got it. So yeah, it's awesome that we have the confidence and the love in ourselves to be here, and to have some sort of a positive impact for others. So woo woo. And then my intention, even though I didn't believe this 20 years ago, my intention is I'm gonna be here 40, 50, or 60 more years, or more. I don't know, but it's gonna be a lot of time. And so just I'll be doing this till the day I take my last breath. I know it. I know that's what I'm here for. And until I take my last breath, this is what I will be doing.
And we're getting younger all the time.
I'm telling you, I never thought I never saw my beauty as much as I do now. And being 50 and the way I look, I'm like, girlfriend, you are rocking it. I mean, I look in the mirror every day, I'm like, wow, I see my beauty. And that took a long time and a lot of uh, um, uh, learning that self-love, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I see you. When you can look at yourself and I see you, you know, it's pretty. I've experienced that. I've been experiencing that probably. It's been a little bit now, but I mean, and as it grows, it blows my mind because it's crazy because I see you and I see how much you've changed. I mean, you get lighter. We actually do get younger. I mean, I think whatever we believe, right? And I'm open to anything like that because I mean, I think that we can live for hundreds of years. I think we can do a lot of things. It's just a matter of being able to get past a lot of stuff,
Yep.
a lot of these beliefs and stuff that we've put in our mind or had in our mind for a long time. But no, life is pretty freaking amazing. And when you start seeing that stuff, you do notice a difference.
And just so y'all know, self-love is connected to self-confidence. So the
Oh,
more
yes,
you grow in your self-love, the more your self-confidence grows. So,
yes.
um, all right, my friend. Well, so much thankfulness in our relationship and what we do together. And so you are truly a blessing in my life.
Thank you.
So thank you.
And you are
Got
an
some tears
amazing
welling
blessing in
up.
my life.
That was heartfelt right there. So,
Thank you.
uh, thank you for joining us on Tea Time with Amie and Bev. Got it right this time. And I know this video is coming out on Thanksgiving Day, so we do wish you all an amazing holiday with however you're spending it,
Yes.
however you're choosing to spend your time, and with who you choose to spend your time. So value the time that you have, whether it is with yourself or with others. And we wish you safe and amazing holiday. So with that, we'll be back next week, and who knows what's going to come up then, because who knows what happens over the holidays, right?
Right. That's right. So make a beautiful holiday. Make a beautiful day all week long.
Absolutely. So thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.